Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Tonight I wanted to talk to you about a theory of mine, I guess, kind of something that I was thinking about, and it's the illusion of connection. The illusion of connection. And in some ways, I almost see it as a plan of the shaitan to give us the illusion that we're connecting with each other and connecting with the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but in actuality we are disconnecting ourselves from each other, from the creation. And of course we're disconnecting ourselves from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because all of our goals as Muslims, as ones who submit to Allah, should be to try to connect and become closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I see, and I think we all can see, that the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has examples of connection. In fact, it's all connected. If you take a look at how the carbon dioxide leaves our breath, and then the fact that the leaves of the trees, through photosynthesis, having the sunlight hit the leaves, through photosynthesis, that carbon dioxide changes into oxygen again. So then we can breathe it, and then we expel it. So the system is connected. There's a connection there. There's no disconnect. Birds, the fact that birds, that when they're flying, when they're migrating, they will fly in a V shape. They'll fly in a V shape. Why? Well, the first bird and the second bird, they shield the wind from the birds behind them. So they, in essence, the first few birds are actually taking along a lot of the wind resistance, and actually are a mercy, and another example of the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the other birds. And as they tire, they will go behind the other birds, and the ones that are rested will take the front, take the lead. So another example. And where do the birds learn how to do that? Why do they connect with each other, and why do they form a group in order to better the group as a whole? Another form of connection. Death, the physical death, examples of physical death in the world, they also represent a continuation of the system in place. For instance, the leaves on the trees. Every fall in North America, particularly Canada, every fall the leaves turn, they start to die. And then they will fall off the trees and they will go into the ground again. And then the fact that they go into the ground then feeds, it provides nutrients for life within the ground. So that death actually provides sustenance for the emergence of life. Another sign for us if we look around, another connection. Everything is connected. And in fact, we can see that death will actually, in many ways, we can see lots of examples of death being an example of helping new life come. The fact that a mother will give birth to her baby, and a mother will get old and then eventually die, but the new life will be there to continue on for her. And inshallah, the new life will then pray for the mother after the mother dies. Peace be upon her. There's a connection there that never stops. Even after the death of the mother, the baby, the now adult, inshallah, will still stay connected, thinking of the mother to pray for her. The baby in the womb of the mother, that's an example of connection. The connection that we have with each other. Each one of us, everyone that's looking at this video at one time, you existed in a 2 foot or a 1 foot by 1 foot space within the womb of your mother. You are the most connected to any human being at that stage in your life. Everything you needed, your food, your sustenance, your ability, your oxygen in your bloodstream came from your mother. What she ate, what she drank. And obviously that's another reason we shouldn't be drinking alcohol or anything like that, of course. Everything that she took in became part of you. So we started in this world connected, totally connected to a creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As the soul was breathed into us in the womb, we were connected with another human being, our mother. And the first form of experience with disconnect, with a disconnection we had was when we were born. And they cut the umbilical cord from us. Then we became disconnected from that human being, our mother. However, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is always connected to us. Allah always stays connected to us. But the mercy that Allah has shown in His creation causes the mother to reconnect instantly with the baby. The mother's first instinct is to grab the baby and hold the baby close, to reconnect. And that's the natural way we are supposed to live. That is Islam, and Islam is submission to God. And then it's a natural way. That's Islam in itself, is to reconnect with the baby. Islam in all of nature are Muslims. Submission to God. The female penguin will take the egg and give it to the male penguin to sit on for 2 months while the female goes back for food. The male will lose half its body weight, maybe even more than half its body weight, over 2 months there of not eating, and prior to that 2 months of not eating. So he goes for 4 months without eating. Why? Why is there that connection there? Why does he stay connected to that egg, willing to die for that, in that connection? All of the creation is examples of connection. And our job as Muslims is to see through some of the shaitanic plans of disconnect around us. We have to start looking at things a little deeper, maybe a little differently. So I wanted to show you a couple of things. First of all, we have a shoe. This might not look like anything worthy of philosophical discussion, but let's just look at the shoe, for instance. And we'll see that this shoe will protect our feet. It makes it easier to walk, but it also disconnects us physically from the ground. So as children will play barefoot in Allah's creation, they will love Allah's creation. We put the shoe on their feet, they then will become disconnected from that creation in a way. So we have to take every creation that we make and realize that it also represents a form of disconnect. A watch, for instance, it allows us to tell time, and time is a creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But what also this does, it also can disconnect us from the creation as well. For instance, Muslims pray 5 times a day. They look at the watch now to determine when their prayer times are, and they will correspond it with a timetable. There was one period in the world where Muslims would have to recognize the creation. They would have to look at, see where the sun was in reference to the creation to determine what prayer time it was. They didn't have watches. So this watch will actually disconnect us from the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because we no longer look at the creation to determine where in our day it is. We don't even look at the sun anymore and reflect on Allah's creation. We will just look at in our busy schedule, look at our watch and just continue on, look at the prayer timetables and say our prayers without actually involving ourselves in the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's another form of disconnection. The BlackBerry, stay connected. All these new technologies out there, BlackBerry, MSN messaging, the object of their media is to say, stay connected, stay connected. But in essence, we are actually disconnecting from each other because we no longer shake hands with each other. We no longer say salam alaikum to each other. We always now are going for our BlackBerries and our MSN Messenger and that sort of thing. So to come back to connection, Islam, the true Islam tells us that the benefit of praying in congregation, we must try to pray in congregation. That brings us together, connects us. We must show kindness to each other. It's obligatory on us as Muslims to smile at our brothers, to become connected with our brothers. We must give salams to our brothers. Salam alaikum, peace be with you. That's obligatory on us. If one were to say salam alaikum to you, you have to say it in return. And of course, we have to get back to connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when we bow in prayer and we place our frontal lobe on the ground, that is the deepest form of connection we can do as a human being, is to place our frontal lobe on the ground, our highest point in our body to the lowest point that we can reach, to then get connected to the creation, and in doing so, concentrate on connecting to Allah, the Creator. So just wanted to throw that out at you just to get your minds thinking of looking at things differently and seeing that there is an illusion of connection out there, but actually there actually is disconnection through those tools. So let's get back to being connected with each other. Let's get back to being